Hi, my name is Ryan Egley, and for my presentation of my research assignment that I will be doing later this week, I chose to do it over transgender athletes in both high school and college, and just kind of overviewing exactly what it is to be a transgender athlete in different states, what it is to be a transgender athlete in the NCAA, and then just kind of go over a lawsuit that's relatively big and actually just had implications come out recently about it as well, and just kind of as a whole talk about what being a transgender athlete means in 2019 as compared to essentially when the LGBTQ community was unheard of in the early 2000s or very small at that point rather than what it has become today. And just treating these athletes like they are athletes, not whatever personal or moral, ethical beliefs you have and what that may be, but just treating them as the athletes that they are and how they expect to be treated as, so that way we are not discriminatory or bigoted against them of any sort. So the first thing I kind of want to get into is high school rules and regulations that we have already kind of set up. So the great state of Iowa, in which we live in, via the website transathlete.com, we are actually considered a yellow state, which that is not the greatest. It's not really terrible either. So it just means kind of that we have policies and other things like that set in place for transgender athletes, okay? It's just they need revised based off of not being discriminatory, is as the website puts it. So the main issue with Iowa's laws is for transgender male athletes, they are given full participation as long as they are consistently at school, at home, and socially a transgender male. And that works just fine for us. We have plenty of females that wrestle already and stuff like that. So there's not an issue along those lines. And I'm not saying they are a female. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying along those consistencies and stuff, if a transgender male wanted to wrestle, that is not an issue. They would be given probably their own locker room and stuff like that, as long as they have not undergone like gender reassignment or anything along those lines. Now, in some states you have to do that. Iowa is not one of them. It's just consistently identifying as long as you are a male transgender athlete. Now, for female transgender athletes, that's where things get a little not so great for the state of Iowa. So for female transgender females, being included in absolutely everything is all right, except for athletic participation. And it is outlined on the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union website that it is full participation for transgender females except for athletics. And now I feel like there should be ways around that. There needs to be someone who revisits that. I personally believe that. But that is the way that it's written, and that's why we are considered a yellow state on trans athlete. There are some states that aren't great at all for transgender athletes, and the big one, and possibly the worst one, is Texas. Texas, they are considered a red state on trans athlete, and there you have to associate yourself with the gender that is on your birth certificate. So that means if you are born a male, you cannot participate in volleyball or girls wrestling like they have in Texas or anything like that. You have to participate in male sports and vice versa with females. Now, there are some cases where you have people like, the best case I can think of is Max Beggs. Max Beggs is a Texas wrestler. Max Beggs, he is a transgender male, and he has won several state championships, I believe, in the state of Texas. But he only wins girls wrestling state championships because he's forced to wrestle against the girls. And now that may not, I don't believe that is right. And the fact that he identifies as a man. He wants to participate with the men, but the state of Texas don't allow him to. There's just a lot of things there that Texas has to deal with on their own and should definitely revisit. Now, there are some states that are really good for inclusion and stuff like that, and Rhode Island is a great example. Rhode Island might be the best state when it comes to transgender athletics, and that's because as long as it is within their gender identity, they're allowed to participate. So pretty much it's just, if you're a transgender athlete and you live in Rhode Island, life is pretty simple for you. You have it pretty nice when it comes to high school athletics. Some states don't have policies regarding it. A couple examples are like South Carolina and Alaska are two that come to mind. And each school district actually will visit this, and it's a case-by-case scenario, which could be good or it could be bad. Some school districts are more progressive than others, so it's just kind of a varying upon where you live and that kind of stuff. Now, when I visit the NCAA, they've come a long way. And I looked at the NCAA rules in 2010, so 9 years ago. The NCAA, you had to be, essentially kind of like Texas, you had to associate with the gender that is on your birth certificate. And now, as long as you go through like gender reassignment and hormone therapies and such to further along into that process of becoming a transgender male or female, then you are all right to participate with that gender, if you will. So, I mean, it's just kind of, the NCAA has come a long way in helping the transgender community and the LGBTQ plus community as well, and just kind of helping get them involved with collegiate athletes as well, which I think is awesome. I believe they're doing the best they can because at this level, it is for money as well, so we have to keep things kind of fair in the competitiveness, along with like testosterone and the lack of, and those kinds of things, which are very nitty-gritty, but we'll stay off of those for now. And then lastly, the big lawsuit that I was alluding to earlier. So CrossFit actually was sued by Chloe Johnson for $2.5 million worth of damages in 2014 because Chloe Johnson is a transgender female athlete, and she participated in CrossFit, and she had actually undergone the gender reassignment surgeries and other things like that, and she was, for all legal purposes, a female, but CrossFit would not allow her to participate with the female categories. They would tell her to either participate with the men or not at all. And so she filed a lawsuit against CrossFit back in 2014. And now, during this whole time, CrossFit maintained that in order to compete with the men, you had to be born a man and vice versa. But as a result of Chloe winning her lawsuit, now in 2019, CrossFit is allowing trans athletes on both sides to participate this year. And this is the first year they'll be allowing that. And that actually just came out a few weeks ago, I believe. So that's exciting for the trans community, and that's a very big win for them. The suit was filed in California, and California is a rather progressive state, so that could have helped. That could have helped as well. But overall, it's just kind of gaining the respect and recognition of trans athletes. And just to kind of conclude everything here, we need to remember that athletics are more than just male or female. These are people who want to compete. These are people like us who want to compete. And their sexual orientation shouldn't matter to us. It shouldn't. It's something that doesn't affect you directly, and it shouldn't matter. So, I mean, just kind of basing these things off of what I talked about, I feel like we're starting to getting the ball moving to make transgender athletes have a better experience in athletics, and that's what it should be about. So that's what my paper will be about, and I hope you're excited to read it. Thank you.